Bonsoir. Hello, I'm Paul Woods, Executive Director of the National Newspaper Awards. Over the next half hour, I will be announcing the 2019 winners of each category, starting with Arts and Entertainment and ending with Sports Photo. At the end, I will announce the 2019 Journalist of the Year as selected from among this year's category winners. Je vais annoncer les gagnants de chaque catégorie. À la fin, je vais annoncer le journaliste de l'année. Before we get started, a few words about this year's competition. We received 774 entries from a total of 61 news organizations. Panels of 3 judges were appointed to review the work in each of the 21 categories and select the 3 best entries. You can find information about all 63 of the judges on the NNA website. The judges devoted considerable time and effort to reviewing all of the work. Some of them reported that narrowing it down and selecting just 3 was an extraordinarily difficult task this year. These awards are proof that, despite the many challenges our industry faces, Canada's journalists continue to do outstanding, essential work that is of vital importance to our communities. À vous tous qui faites ce travail, merci. These awards operate because of financial support from news organizations across the country and from individuals and corporations that have sponsored 7 awards paying tribute to 7 giants of Canadian journalism. Voici une vidéo pour les présenter.
The George Brown Award for Investigations pays tribute to the founder of the Globe, who made it his mission to demand that governments apply both fairness and compliance with constitutional principles. George Brown's Globe of the 1800s set out accusations of corruption and double-dealing and backed them up with hard evidence. This award honoring investigative journalism that afflicts the comfortable is sponsored by the Globe and Mail. The John Wesley DAFOE Award for Politics honors the longtime editor of the Winnipeg Free Press, who is often called the greatest Canadian journalist of his time. During his 43 years as editor, the Free Press was considered one of the great newspapers of the world, and John DAFOE's writing was required reading in the corridors of power. This award is sponsored by Ron Stern, majority owner of the Free Press. Le prix CORA HIND pour le journalisme spécialisé rend hommage à l'une des pionnières dans les annales du journalisme canadien. CORA HIND a été non seulement l'une des premières femmes à travailler comme reporter, mais elle a aussi participé au mouvement des suffragettes, contribuant à la lutte pour que les femmes obtiennent le droit de vote. Pertinemment, ce prix est commandité par le Nellie McClung Heritage Site. The Bob Levin Award for Short Feature pays tribute to a true writer's editor. Bob Levin understood the power of the story being told, and also the nuance of each word choice. Soft-spoken, thoughtful, and wise, Bob was the sort of editor every journalist wants, someone who could help you find the best expression of your story in a voice you never quite realized you had. This award is sponsored by the Globe and Mail. Le prix Claude Ryan pour l'éditorial rend hommage à un homme qui a eu une grande influence dans le monde du journalisme au Québec. Claude Ryan a été un directeur de grand renom du journal Le Devoir avant de devenir leader du Parti libéral du Québec et, à ce titre, chef du camp du non lors du référendum de 1980 sur la souveraineté. Ce prix est commandité par la famille Ryan. The William Southam Award for Long Feature is in honor of a Canadian newspaper publisher who rose from a 12-year-old paperboy to founder of what became the country's first and largest newspaper group. His name lives on in the William Southam Journalism Fellowships at the University of Toronto's Massey College. This award is sponsored by the Fisher, Bowen, and Balfour families. Le prix Norman Webster pour le reportage international rend hommage à un homme qui a eu une carrière influente remarquable au Globe and Mail. On se souvient plus particulièrement de Norman Webster pour sa couverture de la diplomatie du ping-pong au début des années 1970, quand les relations ont commencé à s'ouvrir entre la Chine et l'Occident. Ce prix est commandité par la famille WEBSTER. In the Arts and Entertainment category, dans la catégorie Culture, the finalists are Aaron Labar of the Winnipeg Free Press for a revealing portrait of Begonia, an emerging artist from the city's music scene. Marcia Liederman of the Globe and Mail for a meditation on art and climate change and a feature about Margaret Atwood's frenzied activity after the death of her life partner. Kevin Mitchell of the Saskatoon Star Phoenix for a two-part series on the joys and tribulations of being a vinyl record collector.
And the award for Arts and Entertainment goes to Marcia Liederman of the Globe and Mail.
For the CORA HIND Award for Beat Reporting, pour le prix CORA HIND pour le journalisme spécialisé, the finalists are Kelly Grant of the Globe and Mail for reporting she did on pharmacare and medically assisted dying as part of her Health Beat coverage. Ariane Lacourcière de La Presse pour des articles exclusifs et approfondis traitant du système de soins de santé. Alana Smith of the Calgary Herald for a package of stories showcasing her work covering domestic violence.
Et le prix CORA HIND pour journalisme spécialisé est décerné à Kelly Grant of the Globe and Mail.
In Breaking News, dans la catégorie Nouvelles de dernière heure, the finalists are Renata D'Aliesio, Melissa Tate, Ian Bailey, and Andrea Wu of the Globe and Mail for coverage of the sudden end to a weeks-long search for two teenagers suspected of killing 3 individuals in British Columbia. A team of Ottawa citizen journalists for coverage of the crash of a double-decker bus packed with commuters into a steel awning at a transit station, killing 3 passengers and injuring 23 others. Thomas Dufour, Audrey Ruel-Manceau et Ariane Lacourcière de La Presse pour le reportage sur le décès d'un coureur d'un marathon, la longue attente pour l'arrivée des services d'urgence et les problèmes de planification de la course qui ont contribué à la tragédie.
And the award for Breaking News goes to Renata D'Aliesio, Melissa Tate, Ian Bailey, and Andrea Wu of the Globe and Mail.
For Breaking News Photo, pour la catégorie Photo de nouvelles de dernière heure, the finalists are Wayne Cuddington of the Ottawa Citizen for a photo of a distraught woman being attended to by a police officer after a man was gunned down in the city's Byward Market. Derek Rattan of the London Free Press for a photograph showing police officers confronting a man armed with a large hunting knife. Melissa Tate of the Globe and Mail for capturing the image of a casket carrying the body of a young man who had been the subject of a weeks-long search as it was loaded into an RCMP plane in rural Manitoba.
Et le prix pour photo de nouvelles de dernière heure est décerné à Wayne Cuddington of the Ottawa Citizen.
In the business category, dans la catégorie économie, the finalists are Danielle Bokov of Bloomberg News for stories about the changing nature of automotive work and the way climate change stands to unlock vast natural resources in Canada's far north. Jeffrey York, Matthew McClern, and Stephanie Nolan of the Globe and Mail for an in-depth investigation into the lending practices and other activities of Export Development Canada. Jesse McLean et David Bruiser du Toronto Star et Marie-Ève Fournier, Katia Gagnon et Stéphanie Gramont de La Presse pour une enquête conjointe révélant qu'un Canadien sur 5 qui déclare faillite le fait pour au moins une deuxième fois.
And the award for business goes to Jeffrey York, Matthew McClern, and Stephanie Nolan of the Globe and Mail.
Dans la catégorie chronique, for columns, les finalistes sont Isabelle Haché, de La Presse, pour des chroniques à propos d'un député redevenu médecin qui sème la controverse, des infortunes d'un compteur de village et des injustices causées par la réforme d'un programme d'immigration. Edward Keenan of the Toronto Star for columns about life and politics in Canada's biggest city. Melissa Martin of the Winnipeg Free Press for 2 columns related to missing and murdered Indigenous women and a deeply personal reflection that emerged from a horrifying experience of turbulence while flying home from Japan.
And the award for columns goes to Melissa Martin of the Winnipeg Free Press.
Dans la catégorie caricature, for editorial cartooning, les finalistes sont Serge Chapelot de La Presse, Brian Gable of the Globe and Mail, Bruce McKinnon of the Halifax Chronicle-Herald.
Et le prix pour caricature est décerné à Serge Chapelot de La Presse.
Pour le prix Claude Ryan pour l'éditorial, for the Claude Ryan Award for Editorial Writing, les finalistes sont Marie-André Chouinard, Le Devoir, pour des éditoriaux sur la tragédie de l'École polytechnique, le massacre de Christchurch, et un auteur qui prône ouvertement la pédophilie. Paul Journet, de La Presse, pour des éditoriaux sur les promesses de dépenses électorales, la façon pragmatique dont les jeunes voient les questions environnementales et le scandale du blackface de Justin Trudeau. Peter Scowen, of the Globe and Mail, for editorials about the fire at Paris's Notre-Dame Cathedral, the need for healthy and sustained diversity, and pending changes to the law on medically assisted death.
Et le prix Claude Ryan pour éditorial est décerné à Marie-André Chouinard, Le Devoir.
For explanatory work, dans la catégorie texte explicatif, the finalists are Renata D'Aliesio and Melissa Tate of the Globe and Mail, for reporting that showed how close the RCMP came to pulling out of the area around Gillam, Manitoba, without finding 2 fugitives, and the essential role a Cree trapper played in ending the search. Grant Robertson and Matthew McClern of the Globe and Mail for explaining why unexploded ordnance, bombs, mortars, and other munitions used during training exercises and never detonated has become one of the biggest financial concerns hanging over the Department of National Defense. Daphne Cameron et Martin Tremblay de La Presse pour avoir révélé comment la science, les politiques et les pratiques agricoles travaillent de concert pour pousser les pesticides à des niveaux dangereux et pourquoi la réglementation à ce sujet n'est pas appliquée.
Et le prix pour texte explicatif est décerné à Daphne Cameron et Martin Tremblay de la Presse.
For feature photo, dans la catégorie photo de reportage, the finalists are Darrell Dick of the Canadian Press for the image of a young boy silhouetted while swimming in a glass-bottom pool 60 meters above street level at a condo tower in Vancouver. Julie Oliver of the Ottawa Citizen for a photo of 3 campers braving chilly summer weather to take a dip at a nudist colony. Dan Riedelhuber of the St. Albert Gazette for an image of a 7-year-old crashing into a curb and spinning during a soapbox derby.
And the award for feature photo goes to Julie Oliver of the Ottawa Citizen.
Dans la catégorie photo d'actualité générale, for General News Photo, les finalistes sont Jacques Nadeau, Le Devoir, pour sa photo d'un homme appréhendé lors d'une manifestation pour le climat. Francisco Proner of the Globe and Mail for an image shot by drone showing a car trapped in a sea of mud and mining detritus after a dam burst in Brazil. Andrew Vaughan of the Canadian Press for a picture of a man watching the impact of Hurricane Dorian along the Halifax harbor.
Et le prix pour photo d'actualité générale est décerné à Jacques Nadeau, Le Devoir.
For the Norman Webster Award for International Reporting, pour le prix Norman Webster pour le reportage à caractère international, the finalists are Nathan Vanderclip of the Globe and Mail for traveling across Asia to uncover deeply personal accounts of persecution faced by Uyghurs, Kashmiris, and Rohingya. Jeffrey York of the Globe and Mail for stories on the emerging conflicts between China and the United States playing out in the African country of Djibouti. Jeffrey York of the Globe and Mail for stories exposing the realities of Sudan, a heavily militarized dictatorship and one of the world's most difficult countries to penetrate and understand.
And the Norman Webster Award for International Reporting goes to Jeffrey York of the Globe and Mail for his reporting from Sudan.
Le prix George Brown pour Grande Enquête for the George Brown Award for Investigations. Les finalistes sont une équipe de la presse pour un exposé troublant des erreurs médicales qui ont causé la mort de 200 Québécois âgés ou vulnérables. Randy Richmond of the London Free Press for a series exposing how a police officer punched, kicked, stomped, and choked a woman, how his fellow officers failed to stop the abuse, and how police spun it all into a misleading story about a dangerous suspect who had assaulted an officer. Kathy Tomlinson of the Globe and Mail for revealing astonishing and brazen exploitation in the immigration industry that has allowed unscrupulous recruiters, consultants, and employers to make fortunes off newcomers while governments and regulators look the other way.
Et le prix George Brown pour Grande Enquête est décerné à La Presse.
In local reporting, dans la catégorie reportage à caractère local, the finalists are Aaron Beswick of the Halifax Chronicle-Herald for a series that addressed the environmental, economic, and political considerations facing the Nova Scotia government in deciding whether to shut down a pulp mill that had been polluting for decades but gave well-paid jobs to hundreds of people. Nick Dunn of the Cornwall Standard Freeholder for digging into the mostly untold story of code talkers' assistance for the Allies in the Second World War, an effort that evolved into a broader consideration of the Mohawk language. Randy Richmond of the London Free Press for a series exposing how a police officer punched, kicked, stomped, and choked a woman, how his fellow officers failed to stop the abuse, and how police spun it all into a misleading story about a dangerous suspect who had assaulted an officer.
And the award for local reporting goes to Randy Richmond of the London Free Press.
For the William Southam Award for Long Feature, pour le prix William Southam pour Reportage élaboré, the finalists are Andrew Duffy of the Ottawa Citizen for Six on a Bus, a gripping narrative about the harrowing experience of passengers on a city bus that smashed into an awning in a crash that left 3 people dead and 23 injured. Sammy Hudis of the Calgary Herald for a feature recounting the complicated journey to recovery experienced by a hockey player left paralyzed after the deadly crash of the Humboldt Broncos team bus. Ryan Thorpe of the Winnipeg Free Press for documenting the sorrow and despair largely hidden from most Winnipeggers who speed past a neighborhood that appears to be ground zero for the city's drugs and gang violence.
Et le prix William Southam pour reportage élaboré est décerné à Andrew Duffy of the Ottawa Citizen.
For the John Wesley Dafoe Award for Politics, pour le prix John Wesley Dafoe pour Politique, the finalists are Robert Fife, Stephen Chase, Sean Fine, and Danielle Leblanc of the Globe and Mail for breaking the news that the Prime Minister's office had pressured the Justice Minister to abandon prosecution of SNC-Lavalin and a series of follow-up reports as the ensuing scandal grew. A Globe and Mail team for reports from across the country that exposed how private entities exploit loopholes in election spending laws. Steve Buist, Matthew Van Dongen, Tevia Morrow, and Andrew Dreschel of the Hamilton Spectator for stories revealing that 24 billion liters of untreated sewage had escaped into a sensitive wetland area over 4 years, and that city councillors had chosen to keep it all secret.
And the John Wesley Dafoe Award for Politics goes to Robert Fife, Stephen Chase, Sean Fine, and Daniel LeBlanc of the Globe and Mail.
In the Presentation Design category, dans la catégorie Présentation, Conception graphique, the finalists are Laura Blenkinsop and Christopher Manza of the Globe and Mail for a deeply interactive presentation intended to help readers understand the dangers of distracted driving. Maxime Jean de La Presse pour un rappel créatif du premier alunissage il y a 50 ans, spécialement formaté pour une interaction immersive sur iPad. Cameron Tulk, Nathan Pilla, McKenna Dayton, Andres Plana, and Tanya Pereira of the Toronto Star for a presentation that helped readers experience the significant, sometimes terrifying effects of a changing climate.
And the award for presentation design goes to Cameron Tulk, Nathan Pila, McKenna Dayton, Andres Plana, and Tanya Pereira, Toronto Star.
For Project of the Year, dans la catégorie Projet de l'année, the finalists are the Globe and Mail for a year-long project to identify key gaps in the way data are gathered and analyzed in Canada, and to investigate why the data collection system is so fragmented and inaccessible. The London Free Press for Face It, a project that explored a multitude of issues faced by those living on the margins in London, from drug-related diseases to a shortage of affordable housing to a scarcity of jobs. The Toronto Star for Operation Transparency, the culmination of a 5-year effort to discover how much individual doctors bill the provincial health plan and to create searchable databases allowing readers to access that information.
Et le prix pour projet de l'année est décerné à The Globe and Mail.
In sports, dans la catégorie sport, the finalists are Bruce Arthur of the Toronto Star for 3 columns about the Toronto Raptors' journey to the NBA championship. Alexandre Pratt de La Presse pour un article à propos des invectives racistes dont un joueur noir a été l'objet au cours d'un match semi-professionnel de hockey et des réactions qui ont suivi. Dan Robson of The Athletic for long-form features about the sudden death of former hockey star Ray Emery, the sometimes troubled journey of the only Inuk to make it to the NHL, and the possibility that head-related injuries from their hockey careers had contributed to the deaths of 2 retired players.
Et le prix pour sport est décerné à Dan Robson of The Athletic.
For sports photo, dans la catégorie photo de sport, the finalists are Stan Behall of the Toronto Sun for a picture of a series-winning basket by Kawhi Leonard of the Toronto Raptors, captured in the split second before the ball fell through the hoop. Jason Frenzen of the Canadian Press for a graphic image of the eye-gouging action in mixed martial arts. Rick Madonic of the Toronto Star for a photo of the Toronto Raptors' Kyle Lowry surrounded by the hands of teammates and opponents.
And the award for sports photo goes to Rick Madonic of the Toronto Star. There's still one more award. Since 2014, we have paid tribute to a Journalist of the Year. We created this award to recognize someone whose work was truly extraordinary and deserving of additional recognition. Le prix spécial a précédemment été accordé à Bruce McKinnon, Joanna Slater, Mark McKinnon, Robin Doolittle, et l'an dernier, Kevin Mitchell. We convene a panel of past NNA winners to select the Journalist of the Year from among the winning entries. This award is bestowed by longtime journalists who understand what it means to produce journalism at the highest level. Notre éminent comité de sélection a été composé cette année de 3 anciens lauréats. Our distinguished judging panel this year consisted of 3 former NNA winners, Michelle Ouimet, Paula Simons, and Graham Smith. Our thanks to them for the difficult task of selecting a Journalist of the Year. And now, it is my pleasure to announce the 2019 Journalist of the Year, Randy Richmond of the London Free Press. Judges said Randy's work on a series of stories called We Are the Cops provided a clear and important public service to the London community. They said his powerful work was reported and written with compassion, fairness, and empathy. Randy, since we couldn't announce this in person, we will bestow the coveted golden fedora on you virtually. Félicitations à Randy et à tous les lauréats et finalistes. Congratulations to Randy and to all of our winners and finalists. Given the extraordinary circumstances we are in at this time, it will take a bit of time for us to get the certificates and checks printed and issued. We'll get those out to the winners and the finalists in the coming weeks. Thank you for tuning in. And to all of the journalists watching this, and to all of you who are keeping us informed, merci and keep up the great work. Au revoir.